Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited, totally surprise, and I mean to tell you, I got a Christmas tree, and it's the start of May. I got this guy from right there in Kansas City in the Plaza, and he's a name dropper, and he knows everybody and everybody knows him. Now, Whale Certified is going to introduce the nation to a guy called Matt. I haven't had a rehearsal. Pritchett.
Pritchett.
Protect.
Close enough.
Yes. Oh, God. Oh, Matt, I'm telling you, you were like I'm awed by your, what they call a resume or your who's who. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt was brought up in the early 80s by Fran Rich, ladies and gentlemen. Fran Rich was his coach. And he had Eric, sorry, Eric, Dr. Ed Gettemeyer and David Bursick as their goalkeeper coaches. I mean, what a man. You were a Manchester kid, and I guess you went to Parkway South?
Correct, Parkway South.
Yeah, and that's a nice little way to see a game, man, that little area there. But I just wanted to applaud you, bro. My gosh, you started there. Can you give us a little sense of the feel? You said you were behind a whatchamacallit, a cemetery.
Yeah, we would, Franny would found us a nice patch of grass in a Cuda cemetery in South St. Louis. And we trained there 2-3 days a week. Beautiful surface, but there was a couple occasions we had to dig a ball out of a freshly dug grave because we did not leave practice without all the balls.
And that's why you're Whale Certified till this day, Matt. You learned your lessons early. Nice going, baby. You go to all ends of the earth to get that ball. You never leave a ball behind.
Never. And Fran was a stickler about that.
Oh, yeah. Hitters, getters. Oh,
that's exactly it.
Oh, man. That is unbelievable. And you would be Whale Certified just as that. But now you got more. So you do the deal. And I guess, did you marry a girl in Kansas City, or did you go to college?
I played at Columbia.
Wonderful.
When I left, I graduated and took a job with Deodora and Union Jack. I don't know if you remember Union Jack back in the day. And they moved me to Kansas City. I played a couple years for a PDL team here. And
was that
met a gal and got married.
Was that a fish and chips place or something?
The Union Jack? No, it was. They were the Kansas City soccer company.
Oh my God! No,
they were actually the official ball sponsor for the NAIA for a long time.
Holy cow! Well, we got Select Tim McAvoy as the NAIA ball. And then the St. Louis High School Champions League.
Yes.
But
yep.
But getting back, so you married a gal from Kansas City?
No, I just met her here in Kansas City. She's actually from West Plains, Missouri.
Oh, man. I mean,
so we were both transplants.
If I couldn't be from St. Louis, that's where I would want to be, from West Plains.
West Plains, Missouri, way down south by Arkansas.
Woo-wee. Guarantee.
So, yep, we settled down, and I got a real job for a while and realized I hated it and started coaching club teams for a living and actually stumbled into the high school coaching gig. I wasn't even looking for it. And I had coached a kid whose parents said, hey, you should apply for it. So I did. The day I interviewed, the athletic director resigned and left the next day. So I thought, well, I guess I'm not getting that job. And they called me a week and a half later and asked if I'd be still interested. And that was 1998.
And can you disclose where that magnificent high school in Kansas City is at?
Yeah, Pembroke Hill is located right off the Plaza in Kansas City, be South Kansas City proper. We sit right on State Line Road, so we actually play our games in Missouri and we train in Kansas.
Wow. And you're the John Burroughs of Kansas City. And that makes you whale certified.
I'm sure Alan will love that.
But my God, you talked of that. They have a triangle that the Burroughs. What did you mean by that? Is there?
Well, you have 3 private schools that sit really close together. John Burroughs, MICDS, and Principia. And so it's every time we go, it feels like they're always building something. Whether it's a tennis courts, I think MICDS is in the midst of building some tennis courts now, and it's because they're constantly trying to one up each other. I feel like to attract more students or to keep students.
Wow, I tell you, that's why I opened the Whale Certified, to be informative and entertaining. But my gosh, I never knew any of that business, man. And then, I'm thinking still that you're, in open fields and stuff, but you are, like, when you say you're the John Burroughs of St. Louis, that means, John Burroughs is the Pembroke Hill of Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's we got a beautiful campus. We actually have 2 campuses because we have kindergarten all the way through grade 12, actually early childhood all the way up through grade 12. But the high school and middle school campus is absolutely beautiful. We got top class athletic facilities. It is equivalent to a college setting. I would say that.
Yeah. The one out in Clayton, I think it's like, I thought I went to Stanford.
Yeah.
And do you have that type of architecture?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of brick, a lot of stone. And I tell you, from my time there, the campus has changed drastically. Unfortunately, for this day and age, a lot of the changes are to making it more self-contained. It's not an open campus. You can't just walk on campus anymore. Just an unfortunate sign of the times. Security's become a big thing, but they've done it in a way that just made the school look more beautiful as opposed to look like a prison. It's impressive.
Wow. Yeah, that is the time. And I don't know if you, Fran Rich, taught the WM system. Are you familiar with that system?
I am not. The WM system, I have not.
Well, just get your piece of paper and a pen and just put WM, and there you got it. W top bottom, yeah. So, it's the whole story about you being there, and then you leave, and then you go to Columbia, and Columbia didn't have to take a back seat to nobody. They had a fine program there.
Yeah, it was good. It was an excellent program. I actually spent my last semester of school as a graduate assistant coach, and it was. I think that's where I really finally figured out that was my calling, as I really wanted to continue to coach.
Wow. Is that Dan Horgan? And
No, it was before Hogan got there. We had a guy named, a lot of people don't know, John Leamy of Missouri State fame actually was the guy who restarted the soccer program there.
is that right?
And then he left and took the job at that time, Southwest Missouri State. And they hired a guy named Bob Gotze. Bob's claim to fame was he played on the Washington Senators, which is that team that travels with the Harlem Globetrotters. So needless to say, Bob did not know a lot about soccer, and he did not last long. So as the grad assistant, I actually was the by default, the head coach my last semester of college, because they didn't have anybody and they couldn't hire anybody quickly enough. So I was basically coaching guys I had just the previous season played with.
Wow. Man, so you a Real, Matt, or a Barcelona man?
Barcelona. That's an easy one. Been to both. Both are beautiful, but I don't know. Barcelona just had a better feel.
Yeah, man. The whole situation I just found out is that they train their 8-year-olds the same way they train their first team, in the system type of way about child development, and they do it. But obviously the first team does it better. But when to be a child, to have proper child development, everybody's got to be on the same page.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and that is really the key to we saying that because of the violence, school violence, we have to prepare ourselves for entry. That is to say, with the soccer, it's got to be on that field. You got to have coaches on the field, man. You got to have that soccer IQ.
yep. And it's funny you mentioned they train the same way, because I'm a firm believer in that. And one of the upsides that I had at Pembroke Hill is I taught in the elementary school for a number of years, and I would get kids in groups in club up until they hit.
Are you getting rated?
What's that?
Oh, okay. You're sounding good now. I was.
Oh, sorry. I think I may have covered my microphone up. My apologies.
Yeah, all right then.
I taught in the lower school in the elementary for a long time, so I would coach a lot of those kids.
Out of full disclosure, you get 2 more times, and then we got to go.
Are we cutting out?
No. That was supposed to be like a joke. You get.
Oh, I got you. I got you. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, so I would coach them, the way I wanted to see them play. I'd push them off to other club teams, and they'd come back to me as freshmen. I've done that 2 or 3 times. I'm on my 3rd group now, and they are sophomores going into their sophomore year next year. Solid group. But I figured out if you can get 7, 8, maybe 9 solid players every year in the turnover, and keep that pattern going, we're pretty solid every year. So that's kind of the system that I run at Pembroke. And it helps being attached to the soccer community and knowing kids and knowing families and being out and about. It helps a ton.
Absolutely. And it just is, it's more, I have learned so much. I knew Fran Rich when he was with the IMOs. It's still, we don't know how to say it in St. Louis, And but from all that schooling of soccer, and then hearing about the guys in the 50s and the 40s after the war, and 50s and 60s, how the mastery of the play, individually and team, is. it's almost vital. It's almost you have to have that. That it's your brand.
Yeah, it's your style, right? And
Yeah,
growing up in St. Louis, we were all lucky, right? There was you had dads that were still excellent coaches, right? That grew up
yeah,
playing the game
yeah.
and getting a flavor of different cultures and their style of play, and then turning it into your own. I mean, St. Louis is one of the rare places where there is a style of play. When we go there, when I take my kids there to play, and I take my boys in the fall every year. We go in and play a couple games, um, so they could get a sample of what that style of play looks like, and it's refreshing for them. I mean, it's good for them to see. Now we're at a point now these kids are playing each other year round anyway, so they all know each other. But when I started it, it was probably one of the things I think that pushed our program up, the recognition of this is the level we need to be at if we want to hoist a trophy in late November. And it took a few years, but we're pretty much a perennial contender year in, year out.
And what class are you in Missouri, Matt?
Where we would normally sit would be somewhere at the bottom of Class 2, just from enrollment stake, but we have played Class 3 probably the last 4 or 5 years.
Because of your victory in the Missouri rule that you go up.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That Kansas City East. I don't know the name of the school.
That's it. You nailed it. That's the name.
That's I, I stumbled on it.
Yep.
Is are they continuously getting good like you are, or because of their age they move on and there's nobody coming behind them?
Yeah, they're starting to head down a little bit. For years, it's Kansas City East, the public high school. It's part of the Kansas City, Missouri school district. And needless to say, it's a lower income area of Kansas City where it sits. So a lot of those kids were African immigrants.
Yeah.
Amazing players. They were, like I always said for years, if they ever got a coach, these guys are going to be scary. And then they finally hired a coach. They had an old football guy coaching them for a long time. But they finally got a coach who got his arms around them, gave him some discipline, and that's when they made their run to win the state championship. Like I was telling my kids, they're fun to watch play as long as they're not as you're not playing them.
Right.
But they were a solid team. They were good kids, very respectful.
Oh, absolutely.
Played hard, played with joy. I mean, they were really fun to watch play.
Yeah.
Difficult to coach against, but just physically and tactically. But the thing that stands out to me is they understood how to play the game.
Uh-huh.
And that's one thing I see less and less from kids. We're sanitizing the game to the point where they don't know how to play the game. They don't understand the nuances. They don't understand when you're up 1-0 late, how do you kill a game off? Those types of things. And it's bizarre to me that we have increased our level of play to the point, but we have removed the savviness from our players along with that.
Right. And even if you only would have one or two of those types of players, you're enough. But man, when nobody knows, nobody can do it.
Right, and it's frustrating. I call it soccer IQ.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's getting worse. And it's like you understand how to receive pass. You understand how to you understand formations, but it's the other parts of the game you got to understand. That could make the difference. Perfect example: ball goes out of bounds, and the referee doesn't know who's it off. You pick it up, you throw it in. These kids don't do it.
Oh, yeah, right.
Don't do it.
Yeah. We had a school here in St. Louis called Sodan.
Oh, yeah.
And for a couple years there, they had the immigrants coming in, and they were just on fire. And it has been slacking off since then. but oh my gosh, they were a jewel to watch.
Oh yeah.
And then we have with South Americans, Brazilians, Gateway Legacy or something. They can't play in Missouri tournament, but you can play around town. That's as far as I know about it. But they're from Brazil, and they're trying to come to their Christian academy, and they're coming with mission and trying to get on to college for soccer and basketball.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have some of that similar?
Not in Kansas City. I know that there's a school down near Branson, but it's mainly basketball as their shtick.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess there's a couple lacrosse schools maybe that give them that fifth year of high school. I think the difference in soccer though is a lot of these kids are coming straight out of high school and turning pro. I think more so than any other sport, especially on the girls' side. I mean, you look on any women's roster, and there's probably 2 or 3 teenagers on their rosters, which is fantastic. I mean, I love it. But I don't know that prep school extra year is anything that soccer players would be, and I could be totally wrong, but it just doesn't fit the model in the preparation these kids do to get through high school and get out and move on. Yeah. And then, like I said, I could be totally wrong, but it just doesn't seem like something with as many kids as we have graduating high school and going straight to the pros. I just, I don't see that in the NBA. I don't see it, obviously in the NFL, that's not going to happen unless they are just a freak of nature physically. Soccer, I think, is one of those few sports that these kids can actually do it and compete.
Well, there's a big. I talked to a lot of junior college coaches, and that's kind of like the way, in my way of thinking, if you're not really top notch, is that you go to the junior college for those 2 years, bulk up, get your mind right, and then you have additional 4 years when you transfer.
Yep. So that's going to be, that's huge. That change in rule is absolutely huge. I've got a good buddy of mine here that coaches one of the junior colleges here, and he's super psyched about that. I mean, his recruiting is just taken off since that rule has changed.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it right here at Whale Certified. Thanks, Matt. And that's why you're Whale Certified. So, is there anybody from St. Louis that you know that I may know?
I'm sure there is. Scott McDaniel, I'm sure.
No, I don't know him. He doesn't know me. We don't know each
other. I grew up playing with the Clorens, Marty Mattingly. Those guys.
Forget about it. You're older. I'm older.
I am old.
You. Yeah.
I am old.
I'm older than you. I mean, that you were in the later years, and so we would have been gone and trying to have families and try to that when you were playing ball. So So the whole deal is because man, I mean, you were the first guy. I never knew about Fran Rich being anywhere else than down there on South St. Louis with the Emo Pizza, baby. I never knew nothing from nothing. And you said you knew Emil Bursick. Emil, I forgot how his name is mentioned.
David, yeah.
Yeah, but his father.
Emil? Yes, I remember Emil. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so all that soccer master there on Manchester, you were frequent, you got all your boots and gear from there, I guess, huh?
Oh, yeah. That was the only place to go.
Well, there you go. Now they say it's just view online with soccer.com and have it delivered to your house now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
These kids have it. Kids have it easy.
all right then. Well, you have an incredible culture there. You have developed it. You take yourself everywhere you go. So whatever experiences you are experiencing, that's what you're sharing in a very caring way. So congratulations to you, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Now comes this time about you're thinking, but then we're thinking. And we're going to do some more thinking with the St. Louis High School Champions League that came up from Florida to try to nationalize it. And it went over to Kansas City, and it's not perking. You have a lot of wisdom about that. Can you share it with us?
Yeah, I mean, we've got interest. The problem we run into, a good chunk of our top high school programs are on the Kansas side. And the Kansas High School Association limits the high school soccer teams to 16 games. And they are in these giant conferences, which chews up 95% of their schedule.
Absolutely.
So they don't have the free games to play the Champions League the way it's set up currently. We're looking at possibly doing a Kansas and a Missouri Champions League. The problem we run into there is the cross-conference competitions are difficult because the other thing Kansas does to start their playoffs, they use record and record only to seed their playoffs. So a lot of the better programs are real cognizant of we don't want to play somebody and take a loss since we already play a brutal conference schedule because all the teams in the conference are good. So it's hard to get everybody on board with taking that chance. But like I said, the biggest obstacle is their limitation in games. And then they're in these giant conferences where they all play home and homes, and it just chews up so much of their schedule. So that's our biggest hurdle right now. And we're talking to a few other coaches. A few years ago, I started a high school coaches association here in Kansas City to try to reintroduce the all-metro team, which went away when the local paper here quit covering high school sports, and to rejuvenate the Kansas-Missouri all-star game. And this has now been put on the docket as well as trying to get the Champions League up and running.
Nice, baby. Well, it gives me hope. I'm getting chills, baby. You gave me goosebumps. So,
well, it's a labor of love. I will tell you that. I love high school soccer.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. And you know the difference. The story goes is that with your because you have a culture where you're at, and I don't want to do. I'm just going to call it PH if you don't mind.
No, that's fine by me.
Because I don't. And ladies and gentlemen, on full disclosure, we're only audio, but the Coach Matt gives out an award after the post-game interview. And he has these headsets of some type of headset, and the girls, he's like they're standing in front of a camera, and he's interviewing them off camera, behind the camera, and it is off the charts. They must really get a thrill out of that, huh?
They do. We do a woman of the match. And a man of the match in the fall with the boys, and the players vote on it. They're the ones that decide who it is.
Wow.
Then we do a post-game interview. Now the headphones are it's a funny story. Those are my wife's old work headphones.
Nice.
And I thought, it would be cool if it really looked like an actual post-game interview like they do on TV. So I took the headphones, And what's even funnier is a lot of people want to know, hey, what app are you using to connect those headphones to your phone?
Baby.
I said, I'm not. If you really look at it, sometimes you can see the headphone is off their ear so they can hear me ask the question.
Yeah, it's just funny.
But the kids have taken to it like they're like, Coach, get the headphones. We got to do the interview. I mean, they won't let me forget it.
Yeah.
And we introduced this spring. We had one of the girls put together a background, and I have another kid hold the background up behind the player being interviewed.
That's the
and
best.
It just has stickers and stuff like that from the school. It's pretty cool.
Man. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. And that is high school soccer, because that's happening around St. Louis area. They get medals, or they for each game, jackets and this and that, and they're having their own little X accounts and so forth and so forth. And
I watch a lot of them. I follow a lot of them on X, and I love them. I love the fact that they took it and made it their own. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you, Matt. So the whole way with Columbia, were you down there when Columbia and Avila would be going at it?
Yeah, Avila at the time. I actually had some of my buddies that I played club with that started off in Avila, and I'd get to see them every year. It was always fun to play.
Yeah. Are your shins still healed from that?
I still have a dent in one of them that will never heal. And I was a goalkeeper, so the whacking had to be really good for that to happen.
Oh, Matt, let me tell you something. I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. You're well certified, baby. A goalkeeper from Columbia. Oh, man. So did you command the box?
I could jump. I will tell you that. I'm not super tall.
Yeah.
But I could dunk a basketball when I was a freshman in high school, so it would help.
Oh, name dropper, yeah, baby, nice, very nice. That's how you show off beautifully, baby. Getting up high, and then all they're getting is knee into their grill. That's
exactly 100%.
Oh, I can't tell you how many times people assassinated me in the midair.
Oh, yeah.
And on the ground, what happens there, nobody tells nothing about nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we played Smith Cotton once in high school, and I got bit on the ankle in a scrum in front of the goal. Not sure who did it or how it happened, but some kid bit me.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first time. That's a world premiere at Well Certified. Somebody getting bit. Okay, so here we are. We're going about all that, and you see what you're going to do. You see a little bit of the future and everything. Do you think it's a real neat type of rivalry going back and forth, or do we just meet during the championship, the state championship tournament?
I see more and more teams traveling. I like it. I mean, we've got the spring. I a couple of teams from Columbia from Springfield come up and play. Springfield Catholic comes up, and then we go down and play Glendale and Kickapoo, and we take a trip to St. Louis. There's a lot of benefits for team bonding, that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I've noticed with club is these kids are losing. They're not having fun, and you can have fun and still play and kick ass.
Oh, yeah.
And be competitive. And so, that's part of the post-game interview thing. I want these kids to enjoy these moments.
Oh, yeah.
And remember them. And all of it, I want them to look back on it. So, I love playing club, but, man, high school was the best time, and I learned so much. And there's the lessons that high school teaches, they just don't get in club. I mean, you got players that are maybe the third, fourth, fifth best player on their club team, when they come play for you, they might be your best player. So now they've got a leadership role that's thrown in on them too. Um, the lessons they learn, I feel, in high school are as important, if not sometimes more important, to their progression as a player.
Yeah, and under full disclosure, I don't have a doctor's note to say this, or a Barcelona certificate, but I just by talking to you, I think I'm getting a little bit more intelligent. Is the fun is not there, and that's why the soccer is not up to the level that it should be in the St. Louis area and beyond. That you have to have the fun first, man. You got to really enjoy this game, and that's what teaches you the intelligence. The fun will allow the intelligence to come, and and creativity and the mastery of everything. But you got to have that fun, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, I could care less with the W. I'm not a participation trophy guy, but I don't mind at all. You know, just got nudged out. But the teams really play, and after the game, it's not just a simple hey. It's like, holy cow, baby, you played great, man. I'll wait to see you next time, man. And that type of stuff, and that's the show me state mentality. And I think I rub shoulders with a guy from Kansas City that you and I think we can start something here.
I tell you what, these kids are. I will tell you, I don't feel like the high school game here is as well respected as it is in St. Louis sometimes. But I know, talking to my St. Louis buddies, my coaches, that they're running into the same things we are, where kids are skipping high school to go play club. And I'm never going to begrudge a kid of doing what's right for them. I've got a player now who's doing it simply because she knows the player, she knows the player in front of her is better, but she had the opportunity to play at a high level. And hey, go do it. I'm going to support you. My job is to support all my players, whether they're playing for me or not, and get them where they want to be and help them get where they want to be. But it's also my duty to promote the high school game and the value that's within that. I think it would be a sad day if it goes away, because I think these kids are missing out on a lot by not participating.
Yeah, I don't. The statistically how it would happen like that. I just, I can't imagine. And that's why it helped out with the Champions League to get some spataz involved. But I've just been focused on learning about fun in the last 3 years, or really strong since Wales certified, been like 18 months, is that it's people are saying, hey, and are you familiar with a guy named Coach Carl? That's with a K, Carl Duazian.
I've heard the name, but I don't believe I know him.
Okay, and a Tom Byer.
I know the name Tom. Yeah,
they've been saying what we're talking about right now. FUN, baby. Eric Delabar, another great keeper in St. Louis, says that's FUN.
They're not having fun. They're not getting better, and that's the bottom line. They're still kids.
That's it. There you go. You wrapped it up very nicely. You did a Fran Rich on me. Nice going.
Franny, be proud.
Yeah. Okay, so can you give us a little forecast? We're going to wrap it up a little bit. You got a busy schedule about doing. How is your coming up? Nicking back and going. What do you got for the districts to go on to the state? How you feeling? How's the girls feeling?
the girls are playing really well for us right now. We're coming off a win over Notre Dame de Sion, which is last year's Class 2 state champion. We do have St. Pius the 10th here in Kansas City, who is in our district. We played them earlier this year, and we lost to them in penalties. So it was a really close match. I think that's going to be our biggest opponent. We do still have Van Horn coming up, which is a feisty team. We're sitting at 10-3 right now. Won some good games. All our losses were either by a goal or lost in penalties. So I think the girls are sitting in a good spot. We're healthy. One of the things I did was very intentional about this year. I cut our schedule down to only 16 games because the girls' season's so short. And we only have 400 kids in our school, and half of them are boys. So, we don't have a lot of girls to choose from. We're not a big all-girls private school, so it's we're not deep. So that's paid a lot of dividends for us. A lot of rest. The girls are getting time off to heal and get better. So we're in a good place. I'm excited about them. I feel like if we can make our district set up to where we could either win our district and go pretty deep, or we could lose in districts and not get out of there. I mean, it's how Missouri works. It's all regional. It has nothing to do with seeding or anything. So I can't count how many times I've seen the two best teams playing in the state play each other in a district playoff game. It bums me out every time I see it.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of food for thought with Dave Ehrenberg. You would be able to talk about how the structure of Missouri soccer.
Yeah, I will say I'm on the advisory board for Misha.
Nice.
And it is really like trying to remove a boulder up a hill. Because Misha claims, and to their credit, they stick with this, that their job is not the competition, their job is participation. Which is my feeling is, and this is my own personal thoughts, that with the advent of club really cutting into high school sports, we've got to get into the competition side more. And you can do that with participation. And Misha's is slow grinding. But I will tell you the upside is on the Kansas side, their high school association is tied to the state government. So you want to talk about trying to get something done. Not going to happen. They still have some rules on there that are just they have a rule in Kansas that you can't have 5 kids from the same club team play on your team.
That's beautiful, baby. That's beautiful. Only in Kansas. Only in Kansas.
Only in Kansas.
Yeah.
So, but we push it every year. It's an agenda item we talk about every year at the meeting. We have a meeting in November every year, or early December, I mean. And it's always on the docket, along with what are we going to do to private schools again. Being a public school kid myself, we lost to Vianney every year in the playoffs. And my thought process was never, it's not fair. It was, we just have to be better. I mean, that's the mentality you got to have. I mean, I'm not a participation trophy person either. Yeah. And if you want to win, you be better. That's right. And that, at the end of the day, that's all that matters. So, and I've built my program under that premise. We don't play a small school schedule.
Beautiful, baby. And so, under full disclosure, here at Whale Certified, there's no editing. And so I'm going to stretch out, and I'm going to say, Matt, I feel as if I met a new friend with you, man. I mean, this is my first time. I'm having a nice moment here. I finally met somebody that we agree on a lot of stuff, and we'd never known each other from nowhere or no how. We don't know cousins or nothing, we don't know anybody. We're just two guys that played soccer and was associated around with Fran Rich, and that's our common denominator.
Well, Fran is the great connector, so I'd love to have a get together of everybody that knew Fran or played for Fran and just see where, the years that it would span, and the lives he touched as a coach. A lot of things I do and say I picked up from Fran, that's for sure.
Nice. Okay, so what we do here at Whale Certified is to say, hey, man, whatever you want to say to who you ever want to say it to, for as long as you want to say it for, this is your opportunity.
Well, it's the same thing. I give all the credit to my players, right? I mean, it's we lose, it's my fault. We win, it's always them. And I think when I started coaching high school soccer, the level of coaching wasn't great, but that has changed drastically in the last 15 years. A lot of these high school coaches have a wealth of wisdom. I learn from all of them all the time, and it's a tight knit community. We talk to each other more than people think. So my hat's off to every person who coaches a high school sport, period, because nobody's doing it for the money or the fame. We do it because we truly love the game and we truly love kids and making them better.
Nice. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to reach out. I have a burning question, is to say, I'm talking like from just my experience, and I'm thinking it's similar, but I may be the only one, that I'm looking at the scores and I'm looking at this and that, and I'm saying, man, these teams all around Missouri, in the class and this and that, my gosh. And then when you're where you're at and you look at all those St. Louis teams, do you say, holy cow, or you say, all right, who's who and who's what?
I'm a film nut. I watch a lot of film, and I will say that high school soccer coaches community is really good about sharing film. So I check scores. I get on the Misha website and I look, and especially my opponents, and I want to see common opponents, and even sometimes I'll see a score line. I'm like, wow, I need to see that game, and I'll reach out to the coach and have him send me the film so I can watch the game. But for us, it's I'm a big believer, and we're going to do what we're going to do, and we're going to do it so well that the other teams can't beat us.
Wow, baby, Fran Rich talking right there.
So I will watch a game, I will scout, but that's more a matter of just to prepare my team for what to expect, and incorporate that into what we're already doing. The other thing is not a good idea is changing anything drastically. I find kids are really resilient when you just give them the idea, and let them solve the problem.
Nice. All right then. So there you have it, and you only had the one shot, and you were Whale certified, baby. You
right on.
All right then. So we'll see what's going on. We'll, as far as after the districts, we might be hooked on again. Okay.
Sounds good. Anytime, just reach out.
All right then, and I will, because we're friends now.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to meet you in person.
All right then. All right. So the best to you, Matt.
You as well, Kevin. I appreciate your time.
All right.